So you decided that you wanted to have a handle. And for a handle, I have a piece of clay. That's my extra clay. I want you to make what is going to be really just a really thick coil by rolling out your clay. And you're going to want to kind of pat it a little bit flat. And it needs to be a little bit longer than what you are thinking, because think about how you would hold it with your forefingers and how comfortable that needs to be if you're putting a handle onto your pot. So a coil that you've kind of flattened out on both sides. And then we're going to cut it on an angle on the top and the bottom that are the opposites of each other. So on this side, I'm going to cut it at this angle, 45 degrees, and the other side, opposite angle, 45 degrees. Now on my piece, I'll fix that later. So on my piece, now what I want to do to have this go on, then I'm going to put my lid on so that I know exactly where this should be. And this is going to go there, and then this other piece is going to go down to the edge over here, this way. So, see how that's working, right? Let me fix it from where I dropped it. All right, so I'm going to slip in where it's going to attach on both sides. And I'm going to put this piece here and another piece this way. If it's kind of pulling on itself, you might want to take your whole handle to the sink and wet the whole handle in the sink so that it kind of stretches a little bit easier. And so that your handle is pulled. Mine's stretching a lot, so I'm going to make sure I pull it out a little bit more to make it a little bit more elastic. I'm using the water to kind of have a really slick surface of my fingers, and so that I can kind of manipulate my handle a lot better. So now I'm going to slip and score right where I want my handle to sit, here and here. So on the side of my pot, slip and score there, slip and score there. And then you're just going to attach it on. By using your fingers, and make sure that it's attached in both places extremely, extremely well. So you really want to work on joining on the top and the bottom, and make sure that all of those seams are super taken care of. Because if there's any weakness in a handle, it is not going to stay. Think about what it's looking like in the end. So when you're smoothing, you want to think about what it looks like. And if your pot itself is getting really stretched out while you're doing this, it is okay to take some newspaper and put it on the inside so that it kind of supports it while you're maneuvering. your clay a lot, so I would take, let's pretend this is newspaper, and you can kind of stuff that inside so it helps you to give it some support. And then finish joining all of those seams. On the inside of my handle, right in here, if you have a towel, or something soft, it's good to lay it on something soft while it's laying on its side. I'm going to use a really small coil on the inside to help me join the inside of my handle. So you see how I laid that in there, taking off all the pieces that I don't need, and then I'm going to use my clay tool to help me kind of divide that piece half and half on the body of the pot itself, and the other half of that coil goes into the handle. And that's going to ensure that it has a really, really strong connection. So if I pull on my handle a little bit, if it's coming at any point, I want to make sure that I go and re-smooth in those places. And then I just finish up by making sure that everything is exactly where I want it to be. I'm going to give that a rest before I move any more around it. So if I were you, when I'm cleaning this up, I would take a piece of clay that you don't need, make a little wad, and attach it on the inside where the weak points are until you're ready to work on it again. And this is going to help it with staying up until you're absolutely ready to get back to it. So I am going to give this piece a good bit of a rest before I do anything else to it. So I'm going to put it in the bag and wrap it up, and I'm going to put some clay underneath the handle on the inside and the outside before I wrap it all up. All right, so now I have it in the bag. The lid is on. Remember, you want to put the lid on always before you wrap it up. And it's kind of gotten a little misshapen, so I'm going to kind of press it too. And then I'm going to make sure that I wrap it completely up before I start working on it again.